What is going on, everyone? This is the Clunker Showdown. I'm your host, Brendan Bryan, and let's get to some clunking. After an eventful Daytona 500, the Clunkers shoddily made their way to Atlanta, another superspeedway, for race 2 of the season. And just like Daytona, there was little calm in this race, just wire-to-wire action. At the front of the field, if you're one of those weird people who likes that kind of stuff, but more importantly, there was plenty of action for those low-scoring positions in the back of the pack. Stage 1 went through clean, saving the action for Stage 2 and beyond. On lap 81, we had our first clunking, when Christopher Bell made a late move on Josh Berry entering turn 3, moving Berry up the track at the same time Ty Gibbs was moving down, wrecking both drivers in the process. But it was the experienced DNFer Josh Berry holding the coveted last place finish by only maybe 30 or so yards. Berry might actually have, speed at times, but keep an eye on him. If his 2025 playoff run is anything to go by, he might be a dark horse for the Duff Cup. The rest of the race saw a few more accidents, but most importantly did not see a new winner this past weekend, as Tyler Reddick takes another bullet for the proverbial team and has started the season 2-0, which means there are still 35 drivers eligible for the Clunker Showdown and the J.D. McDuffie Cup. Thank you for your service, Mr. Reddick. This upcoming weekend, the showdown stops off at Coda, the first road course of the season. For many of the clunking favorites such as Ware, Both Dillons, and Stenhouse, this is prime opportunity to shoot low and maybe snag a last place finish. However, on the other hand, this race is a hurdle for road course specialists such as SVG, rookie Connor Zilic, and last year Duff Cup winner AJ Allmendinger to overcome, as with one accidental win, they will be eliminated from the showdown. But enough talk on what was and what could be, and let's focus on what is, and that is the point standings after race 2 at Atlanta. We have a new points leader, that being Connor Zilic, 29 points ahead of the cut line, moving 3 spots up the leaderboard after another DNF at Atlanta. In second, we have Todd Gilliland, 27 points above the cut line, moving up 1 spot in the rankings. In third, we have the driver of the 3-car, Austin Dillon, 26 points above the cut line, moving 3 spots up in the standings. In fourth, we have the aforementioned Ty Gibbs, who was involved in that first accident of the race at Atlanta, 26 points ahead of the cut line, moving up 7 positions in the standings. In fifth, we have Alex Bowman, 25 points ahead of the cut line, moving down 3 spots in the standings after another underwhelming performance. In sixth, we have Christopher Bell, 18 points ahead of the cut line, moving up 1 spot in the rankings, thanks to his good buddy, Carson Hocevar. In seventh, we have Cole Custer, 14 points ahead of the cut line, moving up 3 spots in the standings. In eighth, we have Eric Jones, who was also 14 points ahead of the cut line and moved up 4 spots in the standings. In ninth, we have the unformidable Cody Ware, 13 points ahead of the cut line, moving up 7 positions in the standings. In 10th, we have the driver of the 11-car, 11 points ahead of the cut line, Denny Hamlin, the bringer of destruction so far this season in NASCAR. He moved down 5 spots in the standings after a 13th place finish. In 11th, we have the 2 of Austin Cindric, who is 9 points ahead of the cut line and lost 3 positions in the standings after winning stage 1 of the race. In 12th, we have Josh Berry, who scored the regulars their first last place finish of the season at Atlanta and moved up 12 positions in the standings in the process. In 13th, we have everyone's favorite, sad Kyle Busch, doing what he does best as of recent, which is wreck by himself for no apparent reason. He is 7 points ahead of the cut line and moved up 10 spots in the standings. In 14th, we have the 2025 Clunker Showdown number 1 seed Riley Herbst, who is 4 points ahead of the cut line and moved up 12 whole spots in the standings. In 15th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in his Chef Boyardee car put on a culinary masterpiece by wrecking early in the race. He is now 3 points ahead of the cut line and moved up a whopping 17 spots in the standings. In 16th, the last driver in is Kyle Larson, who is 1 point ahead of the cut line and gained 6 spots in the standings after wrecking himself off of Shane Van Gisbergen. In 17th, we have the first driver out, that being Michael McDowell, who is 1 point out but moved up 3 spots in the standings. In 18th, we have John Hunter Nemechek, who is also 1 point outside of the cut line, and he remains idle in the standings. In 19th, we have last year's Clunker Showdown champion, the Duff Cup winner himself, AJ Allmendinger, who is also 1 point outside of the cut line, losing 4 spots in the standings this past weekend after a 12th place result. And in 20th, it's Ty Dillon, who was only 2 points outside of the showdown and lost 3 spots in the standings after a top 20 performance at Atlanta. Well, there you have it, everyone. Week 2 of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season is in the books, and this weekend the Clunker Showdown stumbles into Austin for the first road course race of the season. Thank you so much for listening to the 2026 Clunker Showdown. I've been your host, Brendan Bryan, and I will see you all next time.